Hi there. Today we are going to be talking about step-by-step process to study in Canada. One thing you need to know is we have different intakes. We have the September intake or the fall intake. This constitutes most number of institutions offering the largest number of courses, and it is the main intake. Then next we have the January or winter intake. Few institutions offer fewer courses as compared to the fall intake here. Most people that miss the September intake often go for the January intake. Then lastly, we have the spring or summer intake, which is also known as the May intake, which is the least preferred. Not so many institutions offer courses around this time. And one thing you need to know is you have to start your processing on time. You have to do it like a year before. Another thing you have to do is do your research, and you need to ask questions like which course am I going to study, which college or university, and what are the requirements. Different universities have different requirements, and you need to know what the cost is. Okay, for this particular school, how much am I going to pay? For this course, what do I need to know? How much will it cost me? And another thing you need to know under the questions you need to ask is the funding sources. You need to ask questions like, okay, who is going to sponsor me? You need to know who will sponsor you. If it's your parents, have you told them? Do they know the amount you're going to spend? Because usually you don't spend little amounts of money. It is usually a large sum. So you need to get your funding sources right. Okay, so like I said earlier, after doing your research, you should be able to know what requirements are for each college. It varies per course. It varies per college also. And another thing you need to do or know is the language. In Canada, we have two languages. It's either you take English or French, and you need to take the language proficiency test. For English, we have the IELTS, we have the TOEFL, Cambridge English Advanced, and the minimum criteria for IELTS is 6.0 with no band less than 5.5. And the minimum for TOEFL is 80. For the general, the minimum is 6.5 with no band less than 6.0, and for TOEFL, the minimum is 88. The IELTS academic is for study, and the IELTS general is for immigration purposes. There are 4 different bands. We have the speaking, the reading, writing, and the listening. And don't get less than 6.0 in all for the minimum criteria, and don't get less than 6.5 for the general. And in case you didn't pass the test the first time you wrote it, you can do another type. You can write it again. It's not a must you get it once. Even if you don't get it once, that's not the end. Try to prepare and go for it another time. So for French language, we have TF, TCF, DALF, and DELF. And lastly, you need to get your acceptance letter. What is the acceptance letter? It is a mandatory document for study permits. And without this, you might not or you won't even get a study visa. The letter must be from a DLI, which is a designated learning institution, which must state the program you want to study, that's your course, and it should include the start and the end dates. And one thing you also need to know is don't just apply to one college. Apply to different colleges that have different acceptance rates, so that if one college doesn't give you admission, you have other colleges that will give you admission. And the final thing you need to know is check the required documents. And yes, I've come to the end of this video. I believe these step-by-step processes can help you get prepared for your Canadian study visa. In case you like this video, please do well to join us in our next videos. In case you've not subscribed,